Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Ord's Board. So finally, we're getting around to talking about the Disney Sony debacle with Spider-Man. I know that a lot of people have done a video on this already. And then last week it came out that Spider-Man was no longer in the MCU. And then it came around to Disney asking for a deal. Sony says no. Anyway, there's just a whole bunch of controversy, and I kind of wanted to wait till D23 was done this weekend, which is Disney's big convention that they have, giving everybody a look at their upcoming projects and whatnot. Wait for the weekend to be over to kind of then dive into this and talk about this whole situation, because it seems like things are pretty set in stone at this point going forward with Sony and the MCU. So yeah, if you guys haven't heard, which I'm sure you have, Spider-Man is no longer in the MCU of the Marvel Cinematic Universe for Disney. Everybody knows that Disney now owns Marvel, and Marvel is making these movies. So the whole deal is that because Spider-Man was so successful, Disney basically came out and said, "Hey, we're doing all the work. We're filming everything, we're writing everything. We want 50-50 on the profits of Spider-Man." And Sony, owning the rights to the cinematic Spider-Man, of course, said no. It will not be a 50-50 deal. So then I believe that Marvel or Disney countered with a 30-70% offer on profits for Spider-Man, and Sony again said no. Surprisingly, I thought they would have gone for that, just to kind of to stick it to Sony, and we'll get into it more about how I feel about like what's going on and who I side with, or if I even side with anybody for that matter. So then after all said and done, basically Sony said, well, Disney, your offer still stands to make I think it was like 5% of whatever, I think 5% on the dollar of every, dollar sold or whatever for the merchandising and all that stuff. I don't pretend to know any of that stuff, guys. Just, I don't get into logistics. And honestly, guys, I don't even really like talking about this kind of thing. I kind of want this channel to be more for like people just coming and enjoying things and having fun, not having to think about the politics of it. But I felt like this was kind of important to talk about, and my viewpoint on what's going on with Spider-Man, MCU, and Disney and Sony and all that. So I won't do these types of videos often, but again, I definitely felt that it necessary to talk about this. So, and Tom Holland's Spider-Man is no longer in the MCU. As far as I can tell, which actually we'll talk a little bit about what I think that means for Sony and Spider-Man going forward. Going forward with that, I believe now that Sony is going to be making these next Spider-Man movies with Tom Holland. I believe that they will definitely do a Venom Spider-Man crossover, especially based on the success of not only Spider-Man, but the Venom movie that came out last year, which I wouldn't say it was a great movie by any means, but it was a really fun and entertaining movie for that. I feel like Tom Hardy did an excellent job in Venom. I was totally believable with the two personalities that he did, the way he did that. And I know he's the guy who really throws himself into his work. So, aside from all the drama going on between Sony and Marvel, I am excited to see what happens with Spider-Man and Venom. Now, obviously, that being Sony's next. I mean, they have to do that, man. If they want to sell it, they have to do that. I feel like there's going to be a lot of Disney purists here who kind of stop going to see Sony movies, or even at least Sony Spider-Man movies, and that'll tend to happen. But whatever. There's people are going to hate on it no matter what. But anyway, yeah. So with Disney, I know a lot of people are kind of happy about this whole thing, kind of sticking it to Disney, and the way Disney's kind of handled some of their properties in the recent past, like with Star Wars, and how a lot of people don't like Star Wars. Now, I know you guys aren't going to like my opinion, or most of you are going to like my opinion. I actually enjoyed The Last Jedi. I can see where the faults lie within the movie. I can see why people don't like that movie, but I still enjoy it, and maybe it's just because it's a bunch of lightsabers swinging around, or, whatever. call me a fanboy, a Star Wars fanboy. Okay, I'm fine with that. That's totally cool. But yeah, so anyway, guys, I can see a lot of people being happy about Sony kind of sticking it to Disney with this whole Spider-Man thing. Okay, anyway, yeah, so at first I was a little upset about, Spider-Man being out of the MCU, just for the simple fact that we finally have a Spider-Man that I think is good in Tom Holland. He throws himself inside of this role, and I think he plays the part very nicely. And fits the role. And I know a lot of people have a problem with him. Oh, he's too whiny. He's too whiny. Guys, he's a teenager. Teenagers are whiny. That's what they do. This is a young, Spider-Man that we're seeing. So expect that sort of thing. He's learning, I was actually really excited to see what happened with this next phase of the Marvel MCU, being that like the only person to lead it would have been Spider-Man. So now I'm just even more curious about what Kevin Feige and the people over there at Marvel are going to do. I know that here at D3, they announced, I believe they announced all the Star Wars projects coming, or I think MCU projects coming up. I think Marvel, I don't know why I said Star Wars. God, it's been one of those nights. Anyway, yeah, so I think they got, they released a list of all the Marvel movies coming out in the next handful of years. So we'll have to take a look at that. I haven't really been paying attention to D3 much at all over the weekend. So just kind of waiting, letting all the smoke clear with this whole Spider-Man thing. But anyway, so like I said, at first, guys, I wasn't so happy about it, but I began to think about it, and I'm glad I did. I'm glad I waited to do this video, so I had time to actually really kind of soak it in. And for those of you who haven't seen Far From Home, I wouldn't necessarily say that the storyline wraps up Spider-Man stuff. There is a bit of a cliffhanger, but I think with all said and done, I think they could leave it at that with the MCU and Spider-Man and totally be okay with it. I'm not so upset about this. I think this gives the opportunity of Venom and Spider-Man to have a movie together. And who knows, guys? I mean, there's a lot of money on the table here with this Spider-Man stuff in the MCU. So I wouldn't necessarily say that this is over and done with. I wouldn't say that this is the done deal. It's Disney. If it's a property they want, they're going to find a way to get it. And this battle between Sony and Disney has gone on far too long. So let's meet somewhere in the middle, guys. If we could have Spider-Man back in the MCU, cool. If not, I think there's still going to be good things for Spider-Man going forward. So no worries there. I'm not really upset about it. I'm kind of excited to see what happens. I don't have any articles up. I just kind of wanted to talk, openly about this. But I know Tom Holland had come onto, I believe, Twitter and said that he's really excited. He's sad to see what happens. It's been exciting for him, but he was also excited for the future of the Spider-Man movies going further forward with Sony. So I'm going to trust Tom Holland, and he is my Spider-Man. So I will go where he goes. Wherever the web sling takes him, he will go, or I will go. God, I can't even talk tonight. I will go wherever he web slings to. Anyway, guys, yeah. So it's just been one crazy, crazy thing after another with the MCU and everything. So, guys, Sony, Disney, please figure something out. I mean, just do something, guys. This is ridiculous. There's so much money on the table for both of you guys. Just keep it going. Do something for the fans for once. Disney, I just got to say, my biggest beef with you is if you don't do enough for the fans. I know you think you do, but it's to make $1. How about doing something without thinking of making money? Just do something for the fans. Disney, you used to be about that, and then I think money just got in the way. But and Sony, come on, man. Marvel's producing the stuff. Marvel's making the stuff. Give them some money. It's not that difficult. I understand this is the property that's keeping you afloat, Sony. I understand that. But let's move on. I can see both sides of the story, guys. I really can. Hopefully Sony and Marvel come together and can figure something out. Disney, when I say Marvel, I mean Disney as well. Disney, come on, guys. Let's stop butting heads. Let's come up with a conclusion, and let's see what we could do about making everybody happy. Anyway, guys, that's it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and hopefully they figure out what's going on with the Spider-Man crap. But anyway, guys, if you did like this video, please hit the like button below, hit the bell for notifications, and please, guys, please sub to this channel. It does help me continue to do this and get excited about doing this. Not that I'm not. I'm going to do this whether you guys subscribe or not. But if you do, it does help me. So cool. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and we will catch you guys on the other side. Peace.